My name is Anushka Soni, and I'm doing this sway presentation for my Introduction to Forensic Psychology class for Grand Canyon University. Um, so, deviance and delinquency presentation. Um, First, we're going to talk about the structure of functionalism theory. I don't know if you guys can see this, but the founder was Almond and Powell in 1970. This is a macro theory, aka meaning that this theory took part within the large society that belonged that time. This theory looks at how all communities, structures in a society work together for the betterment of the society and the welfare of the people. It focuses on stability and integration. It is based on mutual agreements. The second one is corrective justice theory. This theory was founded in 1980 by Aristotle. This theory helps with the person to person. This theory helps with the person to help people understand that the crime happened for a reason and to decrease the threat of the crime. For example, if someone stole something, so instead of putting them into a jail, they would give them community service, or they would make someone understand that, hey, it's not good for you to do this because it affects the nation's economy and the personal economies of the person, and it can put someone into serious harm. So the purpose of criminal theory is to gain the losses and make the financial adjustment. If the criminal act is not intense, then the government would rethink the means of the case. So comparison between the 1970s and the 1980s is that one of this is related to more of a philosophical view, and the other one is more associated with the political view. They are similar in a few ways because they work in a society and welfare of the society. They want to decrease the crime rate and create love and belonging in the society. So it was very social and help the economy kind of thing that really helped in those last 2 decades, 1970 and 1980s. As the culture was a really important aspect at that time. So next one is social information processing theory. This was founded in 1990 by Joseph Walter. This theory focuses on interpersonal relationships and also cultural aspects that mimic communication, like nonverbal cues that have been made in a social setting. So this helps with children, adults, seniors, and also in biological, environmental, and social factors. This theory helps to navigate what exactly has happened, what exactly is happening, the signs, like if this is a sign of like threat, all of that happened. All of that began to happen in this era, 1990s. So comparison between 1990 and 1980 was the both of the eras focused on building a better community for the people that is crime free, is culturally focused, and has more empathy in this because they didn't want to just make people go in jail. They wanted to have compassion and empathy, and they could understand and have human feelings. So the 1980s era focused more on the empathetic side of the crimes, and 1990 government wanted people to be more in unity and companionship. The homicide was higher in 1980 although versus 1990, so the government thought helping the individual with social understanding would really help. The second one is differential association theory. This theory was introduced in early 2000s by Edwin. It means that people in a certain culture have similar views, thought processing, and techniques. So that makes that culture have a higher criminal rate or like crime rate. For example, Pakistanis, because or Afghanistanis, they have higher crime rate than other Asians or Americans or as such Europeans. Um, this theory has three characteristics. That those are frequency, priority, and intensity. This theory focuses on physical interaction with people and cultural, with people with cultural and other aspects. This theory may have given rise to racism and other cultural problems, but um, that is another controversy for another time. So yeah. For example, people grew up, in an area where crime rate was high, and the people within that culture would also grow into it. Comparison between 1990 and 2000 is that this time of the decade, the criminology theories are a new concept, and they were adjusting with the change and generational shift. A lot has happened in the past decade with economical and social concepts. Cybercrime theory. This theory was introduced by 19 by Gray back in 1982, but it did not had so much of awareness. But problems like cybersecurity or like cyber stealing or cyber suicide, all of that was happening a lot in the age of 2010. This was introduced in 2010. It was introduced in 1982, but most people started using this theory in 2010. So that makes it more reliable, just because in 2010 iPhones came back into the town. iPhones were introduced to the world. Smartphones were introduced. So a lot of people found flaws and glitches, and thus this became a huge crime in 2010s. Here are some pictures. Cybercrime. It was dangerous for children as well, not only adults. Cybersecurity. They used to hack people accounts, personal accounts, social accounts, any such accounts. And they would just take away all their information and just make it so difficult to navigate or like trust the internet. So thus did this cybersecurity crime theory did came in. Comparison between 2000s and 2010. When it came in 2000, it was associated with more cultural and more compassionate values, whereas in 2010 it was more on digital platforms. So they focused mainly on digital platform theories. Not mainly, but like most of it was happening. This was happening. And then in conclusion, so every problem is different, and with every decade, each problem just gave a new rise. So these theories were introduced in order to decrease those new crimes rate down, and that really helped. Like for example, although with time and all the crimes, its rates has dropped, but new crimes that have introduced, making understanding theories more difficult. For example, the psychological theory to kill people was not introduced until the early 1900s, and the concept of vampires was new, and studies were done in order to understand sociopath and psychopathic behaviors. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you liked it.